Your house is worth whatever it's worth, right? Whoever sells it. Wrong. I'm Charlie. Welcome to Moving Home with Charlie, and thank you for coming.
Charlie Landing grew up in Sussex, is the founder of Best Agent and presenter of Moving Home with Charlie.
If you want to find one of these guys, look out for those compassionate professionals. All estate agents are not the same.
So Charlie, what would be your advice for people interested in buying new builds right now?
Don't overpay. Do buy, but don't overpay. That's why I say disregard the guff. Read into the numbers and look, and it's buried. The bad news is buried in the small print, okay?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Property Press Awards.
They may or may not be telling the truth, but you should form your own view. Get out and view, get out and view, get out and view. You cannot be in a position to make offers and have the offers accepted if you're not viewing. Just be out there viewing. Pay attention to the back of the class if you've not been watching my videos. I did one just a couple of days ago. Disregard the guff, guys. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. This is another Moving Home with Charlie live stream. I'm Charlie. Extra special welcome to any new subscribers, and a welcome back to all of the rest of you. Who have we got here this evening? Amir Ahmed, hello, welcome. Patricia Pronto, Tom 1991, Ash, Stitchy B, Catherine, EHM, Matthew Slate. Welcome. Thank you. Thanks for joining me. Now, I wanted to do a very quick plug, if I may. Tomorrow night, Thursday the 1st of June at 8 p.m, I'll be doing my next private Buyers Club live Q&A, which is just for my paid subscribers. These are much smaller groups. They're really intimate, and it's a bit like sitting around the table in a pub having a chat. It's all about buying, whether you're a first-time buyer or a second-time buyer. And I also invite you to join me on screen. And people regularly come in just on audio if you don't want to be on camera, or they come on audio and video, and we have a conversation. We just get a bit more detail, and we go into a bit more depth about people's particular situations. And if you would like to join that group, there's the link. buymeacoffee.com/MHWC. I've also put a link in the description below. It's 15 quid a month. You can join anytime, you can leave anytime. But for those of you who are new and didn't know that existed, it's like I get far too many private messages every single day on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. It's just not possible. Thank you for the messages. I do eventually always have a quick scan through them, but I just haven't got the time to answer all of them. But if you join that group, then not only will I answer your questions on the live Q&As, but also you can send me private messages via the membership group there, and I always answer private messages from members of that club. So I'm sorry it's got to the point where I've got too many followers to now. In the early days, I answered everyone's questions every single day. I went through every private message, but I soon became overwhelmed. So that's where we are now. I will try and answer some of your questions this evening on this live stream. Jimmy Guapo, hi, welcome. That's a new name. Alexander Robinson, hi. Richie 1812, welcome to all of you. So this evening, I just wanted to have a relaxed chat, because this time last week, when the Bank of England announced the inflation figures, or the Office of National Statistics announced inflation figures, it was almost as though there was a distant sound of an explosion on the horizon. Sorry, that's right in the microphone. As reality started to dawn, that our inflation has not been transitory. It is staying higher. Core inflation went up. Actual inflation rates, interest rates are going to be going up for probably the next 6 months. And the effects of that will last for another 12 months after that. So, leaving to one side how fast prices may or may not fall, it's now very difficult for anyone who understands the basics of how the market works to argue that prices aren't going to be falling for at least the next 18 months. Another thing's happened is a lot of my most frequent detractors, people who sort of always having a pop at me on social media and having a laugh at me and saying, "Oh, where's this house price crash then, Charlie?" They've all gone quiet very suddenly. Tumbleweed where they used to be. And a couple of them have even actually had the dignity and grace to say, okay, all right, I'm rethinking this now. Maybe we are in trouble. And let me show you these stories that some of you may not have seen, because yesterday, even just yesterday, a whole bunch of lenders, I mean, anyone would think these lenders talk to each other behind closed doors, when all of a sudden in one day, loads of them agree to go, right, we're pulling loads of products off the shelf and our rates going up. All of you in one day, just like that? Rates didn't go up that day. So here is the story on the Telegraph website from yesterday. Lenders pull hundreds of mortgages as economists warn of fresh house price falls. Okay. I can't. I wish I could put my finger on what's different this time, but something's different this time. It's almost like no one's arguing anymore. No one's going, "Oh, it's a blip." Russell Quirk's favorite response: "It's just a blip." Lenders have pulled close to 800 mortgage deals from the market as economists warn higher rates will lead to further house price falls. Some 14 lenders have pulled close to 400 fixed-rate residential deals. Buy-to-let sector, 40% of mortgage deals have vanished in a week. Another 400 loans pulled. Follows official data published last week. It showed inflation rose by 8.7%, far higher than expected. And this is the real problem. It's the core inflation going up. No one expected that to go up. Next story I want to share with you. By the way, guys, put your questions in the comments. I'm about to come and see them. Is that on the screen? Yes. Former Bank of England policymaker says UK's most painful period is still ahead. Now, this is not news to people who understand the time lag effect of interest rates. This is a mathematical certainty as interest rates rise. It takes 12 months at least for the full effect of rising interest rates to actually not just affect house prices or mortgage rates, but the economy. Former Bank of England policymaker says full impact of rate hikes coming is yet to come. Falling real wages, which, if you remember, Housing Stig says are the number one correlated fact. Never mind, he says it. You can look at the data. He's put the graphs out there. It's a fact. Falling real wages is what correlates more with house prices than anything else. The economy is headed for a more painful period after the quickest succession of interest rate rises in 4 decades takes hold. And this is the point that everyone needs to understand. It normally takes about a year for the peak effects from changes in interest rates. Okay? This is what everyone needs to understand if you really want to try to figure out what's going to happen. You've got to factor in the 1 year time lag for the actual consequences of rates going up to come through. We haven't yet felt much of the effect of the big rises in rates. Right? People go, hang on, haven't we? Haven't we already been feeling the effects? No, this is the point. This is the point that I've been trying to make, that Alex has been trying to make, that so many people who just think that whatever's happened in the headlines today equals the market today, and it doesn't. Headlines are reacting to data that's reacting to transactions from months ago. And changes like interest rates and Bank of England stuff that change today don't actually reach the market for months into the future. And so it's a bit of a sort of left-right head fuck. It's like, what does this all mean? But it's been getting bad since rates started going up. It will continue to get worse whether they raising or lower rates. Even if they started lowering rates next month, it's not going to stop the effect of what's been happening with the interest rates of the last 12 months. Okay. And here's another story. Mortgage strategy. property transactions fall sharply. This was data out today. The latest figures from HMRC show a marked fall in housing transactions. The provisionally non-seasonally adjusted estimate is 32% lower than April last year and 29% lower than March. And you can go on. I've linked to this story below in the description as usual. April is supposed to be the spring bounce, but it's like the market bounced off the trampoline in March and went splat in April. And I actually stopped in and saw Housing Stig last night. I popped around to see him, and he very kindly cooked me a delicious meal. I was in the middle of a whole day of traveling, and I still had 3 hours of driving left to do, and he fed me up and refueled me, and we had a really good catch up and a chat. And he and I agreed that it's very difficult to put your finger on, but something in the last 7 days, maybe it's that oh fuck moment. So many investors are starting to realize it. I even had someone on Twitter today who it pains me to admit this, but I wasn't expecting this. So what do you guys think? What are your thoughts, comments? What are your questions? What would you like to hear from me tonight? Does anyone have questions? Let me have a quick scroll and see if you've got questions. Alexander Robertson, you asked this question earlier today, and we did answer it, and I don't really understand can you explain the background of this question? Agents don't choose who buys the properties. So it's a bizarre question. And agents get paid the same commission no matter who buys a property. I can't talk about illegal backhanders, bribes. I'm not referring to that, but the commission, which is what they have to earn and declare, is the same no matter who buys the property. It's such an odd question. I don't really understand the question. And why are you asking? Is it because you've had an offer rejected or something? I'm not saying it doesn't happen that they sell to developers, but it wouldn't increase their commission. Victoria Hamilton. Hello, lovely people. I'm a rare exception here, I think, as I'm a seller, and it's going appallingly. Months on end. Reduced by 100K. Prepared to accept lower. Agent not great. Victoria, why are you sticking with the agent? You need a great agent, especially in this market. You really, really must. If you're not impressed, are you tied into a long-term sole agency contract? You've got to work out the right asking price and drop it to that as soon as you can. Pool in Dorset by Sandbanks. Okay. That's where you are. But how long have you been with that agent, and what are the discussions been with that agent, and what are they saying? Just reading the questions here. Yeah, Crypto Bizzle says, I wonder what Russell Quirk is saying now. He'll probably say something like, well, it's those awkward facts again, Charlie, without actually responding to anything I'm saying, just to sort of, deflect it. Well, it's facts, isn't it? But what is? Right. Chloe S says, I cannot afford to buy now, brackets, only about a 40K deposit. I'm worried about not being able to afford next year when the interest rates are going up. It feels relentless. Yeah. This is a situation that worries me too, which may already be happening, which is possibly why the transaction volumes have dropped so sharply, according to the HMRC's data, which is that as interest rates keep going up, affordability goes down. And until house prices fall further, house prices have got to fall faster than interest rates are going up, if that makes sense, in order for affordability to improve. And I do think house prices are falling faster, but whether it's fast enough with interest rates going up, I don't know. It comes down to your individual deposit and everything else. Simon Smith says the Fed and the Bank of England rate will likely end the base rate rise at 6%ish, but market sets prices. Yeah. Alex Housing Stig last night also said he thinks that they will bounce off 6%. They may reach 6%, but then that's probably about as high as they'll go. Okay, Sunny says on YouTube, not sure what to do. Been wanting to move out of my parents for half a decade. Okay, so 5 years living with your parents, you want to move out. Got just enough for a deposit for a one bed, but not sure if I'll end up overpaying if I buy now. This is a very, very common situation, Sonny. Now, the only way to answer that question is to be out viewing. Have you been out viewing? I want to ask Sonny. Have you started viewing? Because if you haven't started viewing, then in order to find out and to be able to make a good decision, you've got to be out viewing, because only if you've had an offer that you're comfortable with accepted on a home that you want to live in, only then are you really facing a hard decision. Okay. It is hard, but if you're just sitting at home wondering, it's, deciding, oh, okay, actually I am going to move out of my parents now, doesn't mean you're going to be able to. You've got to get out and view and look, have a mortgage in principle, have everything lined up. There's a lot of work to do. It takes time. So are you viewing, Sonny? And if not, what's holding you back would be my question. There are a lot of people considering moving abroad. Chloe S says, Victoria, I'm considering moving abroad too. Unsure where yet, as it's a scary prospect. Victoria says she knows others selling in this area. Same experience. Think he might give up and rent the place. Not ideal. Okay. Edward Adjay asks me, I hope that I pronounced that right, Edward. What would you recommend for people buying a place? 2 or 5 year fixed? If there is a lag, would 5 be a better bet? Circumstances are you can afford both comfortably. So I can't recommend. I can't answer that for you. I can't say 2 or 5, because that depends entirely on your personal circumstances. Okay. When do you want to move out? What do you think interest rates are going to be 2 years from now? I mean, what you're effectively asking is, what's my prediction of interest rates 2 years or 5 years from now? I don't have one. What matters is actually how much security do you want? Do you want 5 years of stability and certainty? Or do you want 2 years of stability and certainty? Only you can answer that. Nobody, not even your mortgage broker, can tell you which is the better decision. Only you can make that decision for yourself based on your future plans. How long are you going to live there for? Why not go for a 10-year fixed rate? Is 2-year right? Is standard variable rate right? Because, in the scenario where rates do come down, going on to standard variable rate and watching them come down and fixing later would be the thing to do, if you knew that was what was going to happen. We don't yet. So I've answered that question because that's a very regular question. And anyone who answers for you says, oh, I'd do 2 or I'd do 5. Unless they know your entire personal circumstances, everything, what your life plans are, your situation, your relationship situation, your work situation, your career plans, your financial stability, all that kind of stuff, no one can answer that question for you. It's a personal decision based on your risk appetite. Is that helpful, Edward? I hope it is. Quiet One says, hi, Charlie. We are making offers, but sellers at the high end are being stubborn and unrealistic on prices still. Would you expect them to come to our offer? Well, I can't answer that specific question, but what I can say is that if you're out there offering, well done. That's the right thing to do. And if you're out there offering and not having them accepted, well done, because it means you're not overpaying. You're making offers you're comfortable with and sticking to it and walking away if they don't accept it. In general, on average, and subject to regional variations, I am expecting an increasing number of sellers to start seriously considering lower offers. It depends on whether they need to move on. It depends on how motivated they are. But if they are motivated sellers, I think, given the news in the last 7 days, the really switched on ones are going to see the writing on the wall now and go, we should grab whatever offers are out there now, because those offers are only going to keep on getting lower as the year goes on. So if you have the time to be patient, I would just be patient. And I do think, generally speaking, yes, I think sellers are going to come down and start meeting buyers' bids. Eva Sasha 1. Hi, Charlie. I've had a mortgage offer, but have not yet signed the mortgage deed. Can they change this offer at any time? That's a question for a broker, Ava. I can't answer that question. I don't know whether you've organised your mortgage directly with a bank or whether you've gone through a broker, but you should talk to your broker or ask your conveyancer. They might know, because it's due to about signing the mortgage deed. Tom 1991 Ash, would you advise going on a variable or fixed rate? So guys, it's really clear. A lot of you are new here, so you won't know this. I'm not a mortgage advisor, right? I'm a moving commentator, the moving market commentator, and I talk about navigating the process, navigating with agents, that sort of thing. And again, this is like the earlier question: would I advise a variable or a fixed rate? You have got to figure out the answer to that question for yourself, okay? Because if you take someone else's advice, if someone else you ask them and go, oh, I'd go variable, oh, I'd go fixed, and you do it because they said it and then they were wrong, how are you going to feel? You've got to figure it out for yourself. You've got to do the numbers, look at the calculations, look at it and say, right, what does this mean in 1 year out, 2 years out, 3 years out? What do I think is going to happen with variable rates? So in the event that interest rates were going to come down, then going to a variable rate, waiting until they've come down and then moving to a fixed rate would make sense. I don't know that. That's not what I'm saying is going to happen. In the event you think interest rates are going to go up, then a fixed rate makes sense. But it depends on what time period you're looking at. So you've got to form your own decision on that based on, again, it's how long do you want to live there for? What size mortgage have you got? What size deposit have you got? All of those things affect this. How short or long term are you looking in terms of your mortgage payments? What are your career prospects like? Are you expected to get pay rises in the future? All this kind of stuff. Alex Cooper, seriously, Charlie. Well, I don't know what you're talking about, but absolutely, I'm deadly serious. What are you asking, Alex? I don't see the messages as they come in real time, so I don't know what you're saying that to. But I'm very curious. But what I would say to that is, I don't take myself very seriously at all. I never have. But I do take what I do extremely seriously. Does that help you answer the question? Let me know. Put it down if you're still there, Alex Cooper. Is what is that question actually asking? Tina Fey. Just had an offer accepted on a house, but another one has cropped up that truly is what I wanted. Never expected something that's to crop in my budget. How much of an a-hole am I to pull out? Nice turn of phrase there. A-holes and pulling out. No, I'm not going there. Stop. That wasn't me, it was you. It wasn't me, it was you. This is an excellent question, and it's a situation that buyers often find themselves in. You've had an offer accepted on a house, but another one has cropped up that you want more. Your options are, do you buy the one you've made an offer on because you've made an offer on it, because you feel that's the honourable thing to do, but actually you wish you were living somewhere else? Or do you buy the house you want to live in? I mean, it is unfortunate, but if you really are certain, you just be honest. I had this situation, exactly this situation. I'd been looking to buy not a house, something else that I'd been looking to buy for years, and I couldn't find one. And eventually, after 3 or 4 years, I found one in my budget, and it was amazing. And they did me a great price, and we shook hands. I shook hands on the deal, And then this happened. A dream alternative cropped up that I never imagined in my wildest dreams. I was in the right place at the right time. And I had to go to them. But I went and met them in person, and I just explained, and I said, I feel terrible because this is awful. You did a great, as it turns out, I know that they went on to sell it for a lot more than they'd agreed to sell it to me for. So it worked out for them. I'm not saying that's what happened in this situation, but in that situation, you just have to say, I'm really sorry. I don't want to live in your house anymore. I found a better one. They might think you're negotiating. You need to say, I'm not trying to negotiate here. I'm pulling out of the transaction because I found out. But you've got to get your offer accepted on the other house first. It's very, very tricky. Good luck though. And sorry for everything. Michelle Desjardins, agents have just started cold calling me, must be bad. Guys, there are a lot of agents out there, good agents, who are staring down the barrel of a gun. I mean, you see a 30% drop in transactions in 1 month on average. Not all agents, some will be doing better. This is actually a time when you'll find the really good quality agents are busy now. They're busy and they're doing well. The crappy agents are going to be struggling and will be going out of business quite soon. But the ones that I feel sorry for are the ones in the middle who have never worked in a market like this, have worked very, very hard selling houses for the last 3, 4, 5 years, have come to the point where they think they know what they're doing. And now they're having their arse handed them on a plate in a much tougher market and realizing, oh, this is much, much, much harder than I thought. And they're struggling. They're having a wake up call. They're having to turn the corner, and they're in the deep end, learning a tough market the hard way. But they are our fellow human beings trying to earn a living like everybody else. So please be kind to your agents. Be kind to them. It genuinely actually works in your favor, whether you're selling with an agent or buying with an agent. Be kind to your agent. It improves your chances of getting what you want, and it makes you not an arsehole. No, Jack Waldron, Russell Quirk hasn't paid his bill. He's not due to pay up yet, but he's been offered an early way out and hasn't taken it. Kior Bat says, I've seen a nice house that I'd like to take a look at. The problem is it's number 13 on the street. Go and look at it. Go and look at it. You might go in there and go, don't like it, but you have to find out if you actually want to make an offer first. And then you have to decide whether or not you are a superstitious person or not. Alex Cooper. Okay, this is what you're meaning. It's better to own something rather than nothing. That's a bit of a sweeping generalization, Alex. It's better to own a home than rent a home. Everything else being equal, assuming it's affordable and assuming you aren't saddling yourself with very high interest debt that you can't afford to pay. But otherwise, that's too much of a sweeping generalization. I think it's a personal choice based on personal circumstances every time. Magic says, after your advice about buying, if you want to stay 5 years or more, I feel like I might actually rent instead for 1 more year. Yeah, good call if that's how you feel. Jimmy Davis says, question, what do you think could be the earliest possible point the market could bounce back? Great question. Oh, right. Okay. Off the top of my head. First of all, I don't think it's going to bounce back ever. Right? There'll be some regional exceptions. They've just announced that they're going to be building a massive electric car battery factory in Somerset, and it's going to create 9,000 jobs. Once that's absolutely signed and sealed and delivered, you will see the properties close to that factory will see a bounce. Probably. The market as a whole, I don't see the economy bouncing back. That's why I don't see house prices bouncing back. I think that when they stop falling, they're going to flatline for a while, and then they're going to slowly start building. But the answer is, it won't happen until wage growth is higher than inflation. When might that be? Don't know. But does that answer your question? I mean, it's at least 18 months away, probably 2 to 3 years away before there's any kind of sustained increase. You'll get the odd month when they go up and down. You'll get people going, oh, house prices went up last month. Oh, that's it. The crash is over. It's bounces. No, it'll just be a 1 month blip. Don't be suckered by the 1 month blips. Emma Anderson says, scared to make low offers in case I get blacklisted. That's, Emma, you really don't need to be scared about that. You really don't need to be scared about it. You won't get blacklisted. I mean, unless you're not making offers with any credibility. I mean, there are some people who are just silly giggling chances and it's obvious they're not serious, right? But if your offers are sincere, even a low offer is useful to an agent in a difficult market because it helps them manage their vendors' expectations. All right. So, I mean, if you're really worried about there are no blacklists, by the way. There just aren't blacklists. And agents don't talk to each other and say, hey, make sure this buyer doesn't view any properties. They don't do that. If you've got an offer that might buy a property that they're selling, they will want to talk to you. Okay. So do not be scared to make low offers, provided that they are considered offers, that they really are your best price you're prepared to pay. You've done it by email. And make sure you've got your mortgage and principal and your conveyancing lined up so that it looks like a serious offer. And make sure you say, if my offer is accepted, I'll purchase the search pack straight away to speed the process up. Don't ever be afraid to offer. I mean, if you viewed a property with an agent and they say, would you like to offer? And you're thinking, I would like to offer, but I'm scared to offer because it's going to be too low and they're going to blacklist me. Just say to the agent, I would like to make an offer, but I'm worried it's too low. Some agents will say, well, then don't make it. And some agents will say, no, if you've got a real offer, I'd like to hear it. Maybe we can have a conversation. Maybe it'll open up a dialogue and maybe we'll get somewhere. So, but if they say that, say, okay, I'll send you my offer in writing. Remember, don't offer in person. Don't offer over the phone. Only make your offer in writing and only do that after you've slept on it for at least one night after viewing the property. Yeah, Alex Cooper says, it's hard. I get it. I had to go through a lot of crap to get my deposit. It's so different, but you have to sacrifice now for the future. You don't have to. It's a choice. It depends on the kind of person you are. You know, some people, that's the right thing to do. You make sacrifices because having the security of owning your own place is what you've chosen as your personal priority. But for other people, they go, well, no, I get one youth and I don't want to spend it scrimping and saving. I want to spend it living. It's a personal choice. There's no right or wrong. It's a personal choice. Might they live to regret that later? Yes, but so might people who saved up and scrimped and saved. You don't know. You know, you just don't know. You got to really be comfortable with your own decision for yourself. That's the thing. What other questions do we have? Oh, here's a good question. Hybe Rev, HYB_REV on YouTube says, will the rental market also catch up to this new reality of unaffordability as well? London seems to have cooled a little bit, but it's still pretty crazy. Well, I'm going to share with you some best agent data that I think might answer that question for you. Give me one moment, please, caller. Here we are, media. Here we go. Lettings prices. Let me share this page with you and put it up on screen. Okay. So this is just England, and what we've got on the left is the previous measure. And so there are more lettings properties coming in the market, right? That's gone up 3,000. That's about a month's difference. But you'll see that the median price for let properties, so the properties that are actually moving off the shelf, has come down by 20 quid, or which is about 2%, just under 2%, right? And hang on a second. And the average price 1305, 1301. That is a small downward movement in the asking prices of properties that are that are actually getting let. Does that make sense? I do think that we're going to see rent prices coming down. I also know of someone renting out a flat in London who forever has been able to rent it like that, like that, like that, like that. And they put it on the market because the tenant that was in there was coming up to leave. And they didn't get offers. They had viewings and they didn't get offers. And then the offer they got came in at 10% below the asking price. And it was the only offer he had. And that's in a really popular area of London. And this is the owner, was a bit like, what's happened? So it's too early to be sure, but I have quite a strong conviction that rents on average are going to start falling. There will be places that they don't. There'll be places they're still going up. But yeah, I do think that's going to happen. Right, next questions. Yeah, I don't think the Conservatives are going to get elected next time. I heard a really interesting piece on Radio 4 yesterday where they've done a big study about the millennial demographic and where there are now more millennial voters than there are boomer voters, apparently, if memory serves correctly. So times they might be a-changing. Clayton James says probate sales are proving 9 months behind. There are 3 houses I would buy, but all 3 are way too high at the current price. What do you do to get them dropping? View them, number 1, so that you can talk to the agent and find out the seller's situation, see how motivated they are, and make your offer. You've got nothing to lose. Make your offer. You never know until you make the offer. Right. Any more questions? Yeah, Alex Cooper says, one thing Charlie and I agree on, you've got to figure it out for yourself and your situation. I mean, that is true of all people in all situations in life. It's difficult. It's a skill that you build up over time. And if you don't start attempting to make your own decisions for your own reasons, and you always rely on other people's opinions and other people's advice, you will never develop the skill and ability to make decisions for yourself. And the reason that it's important to make decisions for yourself is because even when you're wrong, it was your own decision, and that's much easier to live with than when things go wrong in your life because you took someone else's advice. EHM says, Charlie, do you think cash buyers always have the advantage when offering on a property over those needing a mortgage to buy? Yes. If the amounts are the same, yes. But often cash buyers are offering below the price that the mortgage people are offering. No, Guff Disregarder asks, is it worth locking in a rate now? I was wrong yesterday. I made a tweet about this. You can't lock in a rate until you've had an offer accepted on the property. So you've got to get an offer accepted first. And I think then it's only locked in for that property. Ad Cal says, hi, Charlie. I've only recently found your channel. What rock have you been living under, Ad? Only recently found your channel. Have completely similar views on the outlook for the market. I have not managed to watch all of your shows. Hopefully I will at some point soon. Well, that's a lot of watching. There are hundreds. But what I would suggest is to anyone that's new that wants to catch up on my stuff is if you go to there are live streams and then there are recorded videos uploaded. And I think that the live streams are best when you're kind of sort of up to date with them. The other ones are quite good for just generic advice. Oh, this is good news. Matthew Slate. Hi, Charlie. Sold our place in November and into rental. Just had offer accepted on Dream House. Woo! We've been patient. We've made multiple offers on 5, all rejected until now. Our accepted offer is 20% lower. I assume the asking price you mean. This is, guys, this is buyers do, if you haven't made any offers yet, you need to start making offers, because until you've made 5 or 6 or 7 offers, you won't get there unless you're overpaying, of course, right? But be patient. Keep offering. And a question for you, Matthew. Are you glad now that the others got rejected? Because is this house now, you said it's your dream house, is this house better than the other ones that you were rejected on? And therefore, has it worked out? Don't be worried when offers get rejected. Be ambivalent about it. Offers rejected. Okay, on to the next one. That's the way to go about this, guys. Don't get all hung up on a property and get sad when your offer's rejected. Leo Lease says, question, I feel like I've offered 10k more than I can afford. The vendor is considering my offer. I really want to reduce it now. Would that be bad? No. What would be bad is overpaying, right? Now is not the time for anyone to put themselves into a position that they've overstretched themselves when we're coming into what I think is going to be the worst recession we've ever seen in the next couple of years. So without delay, Leo, I would email the agent and say, I'm very sorry. I need to reduce my offer. I'm not comfortable at that level. So I'm offering, but it's 10k lower. That's what I would do. Nick Woodward asks a very important question. Has everyone hit the like button? Thank you, Nick. Always appreciate when that happens. Yeah, there've been down valuations recently. I had a private message yesterday from someone who's right in the thick of this industry, right in the thick of it. And I can't tell you what the message was, but all I can say was it was deep. I don't know what the right word is. It was deep concern, despair, dismay. Dismay is probably the best word. Deep dismay at what's happening and what's going to happen and what's coming. It's someone who is a professional, qualified professional, and is saying, I don't know what to say. It's I better repeat it quickly now, right? If I was a cash buyer looking for a home, right? This is moving home with Charlie, not buying investments with Charlie. I don't offer investment advice. I don't have an opinion on investment. And actually, I think the overly intense investment into residential property in the last 10 years is backfiring. It's coming home to roost for a lot of those people who made a lot of money, and it's what's caused the affordability crisis. And that's one of the things that's unwinding now, right? Yeah. If you have winners where people make loads of money really, really quickly, you always get losers as well. And that's what a lot of investors don't realize. It's fine to make good, healthy, long-term returns from providing housing for people, but speculating to make quick bucks, someone's lost out if you've made a quick buck. Max Crooks, this is a very, very good question. It's a regular question, but it bears answering again and again. How do you make sure you don't overpay? This is very important, and I'm probably going to do a whole video just on this topic, but not overpaying is a personal situation that's based on the size of your deposit, the size of your mortgage, the affordability of your mortgage repayments, your job security, your personal risk appetite, your personal situation. Might it change? Your view on the economy, whether or not you've considered worst case scenario, how important it is for you to have a home, whether or not you can afford to pay what I call a certainty premium. If you're bidding against other people and you go, do you know what, I don't mind, I don't care, I can afford to overpay, I want to just get this property because moving into a home where I need to live is more important to me than saving a few quid. That always stands, but as long as you're not overextending yourself. Which is why I give an example where if you had one house, 2 different people offering on it, and both of them said to me, hey Charlie, how much shall I offer for this house? How much is not overpaying? The answer is going to be different for those 2 people. It's not about what the house is worth. It's about what it's worth to the buyers in their given situation. All right. So I hope that helps. It's a quick and short answer, but I do hope it helps. And I would add one more thing, how to make sure you don't overpay. Imagine the amount that you think you're comfortable with being accepted. Like, actually consider the phone call from the agent going, good news, your offer's been accepted. Is your initial reaction to that news a bit of dread, like, oh shit, the obligation of committing to that price feels daunting? Then you've probably overpaid. But if you imagine that scenario and they accept your offer, and your reaction to the news that your offer is accepted is, woo, then you're probably not overpaying. It's quite vague, isn't it? But I hope that helps. Just looking for more questions. Wow. David McKenzie, ONS figure, I missed this. ONS figures last week showed that in the West Midlands, prices dropped 3.9% in 1 month. I agree. That is a big drop. That's the point, Matthew. We're thrilled not to be overpaying. Not an ideal time to buy, but we need to get on with family living. That's the point. You've got to get on with your life, haven't you? You can't just wait. That's a good point. Adnan Munier says, higher interest rates might hit the south harder due to high property prices. However, the north, with its cheaper prices, may be less affected. Will the north see the predicted 35% drop? Parts of it will, because my predicted 35% drop in nominal house prices from peak to trough over 3 years is also subject to regional variations. I think that some places may only drop 15% and some places will drop 50%. And there will be areas in the north that don't drop 35%, and there'll be areas in the north that drop more than 35%. So the north as a whole won't necessarily see a 35% drop, but there'll be some that do better and some that do worse than that. But I do think it's coming. Right, I'm going to spin forward a bit and try and catch up. Evening, Daniel. God, I'm 20 minutes behind on the questions. Ahmed Matan. Okay. Thank you very much, Ahmed. Super chat. I'm not sure you might want your money back after this. How realistic are lease option agreements to buy my first home? I'm close to being able to afford the type of property I want in cash, circa 2 years out. I'm looking to lock in now and pay later. How realistic are lease option agreements to buy my first home? Ahmed, I'm going to say I don't know the answer to that question, I'm afraid. And if I feel terrible because you paid me, I'm very happy to send you 10 quid back if you'd like it. Just let me know. And let me know how and where I can do that. So send me a private message anywhere. On Twitter, probably the best place. Of the 5 properties we've made up, right, quick skim through all of these. That's an interesting question. GUFF Disregarder says, have you ever heard of agents advising you to make a lower initial offer so that the seller can refuse and save face than you make your actual offer? The agents I deal with don't tend to behave like that. It happens. Agents, selfishly, what agents want is they just want the seller to accept an offer. They don't really care which offer they accept. They just want them to accept an offer. So if they need to manage sellers' expectations, I can see them perhaps not saying it in those words, but just saying, hey, make an offer. Just what's your opening offer, they might say. And then go to the seller with the opening offer and then come back and say, right, what's your best offer? And that might it might happen like that. God, sorry guys, lots of questions I haven't got time to answer here. Mrs. M asks, and this is a great question, will Rightmove and Zoopla ever ease up on the GUFF? Well, I don't know the answer to that question, but what I can tell you is that what I'm working on with the Best Agent All Homes Index, which is the working title we've got for it, I'm hoping that we will be able to use the data for people to compare it with the other indices, both Rightmove's and Zoopla's, and be much more transparent about the calculation method. So I'm hoping that we'll get them to be able to reduce the GUFF considerably. Guys, I'm going to just spin forward a bit. Jilly, is there a way to check on Rightmove what a property was originally listed for? Yeah, remarketed if sale fell through. It depends whether the agent gamed the system or not. If they've there's a Chrome plugin, guys, I can't remember the name of it. Property log, it might be, which if you install that plugin into a Chrome browser and you're on Rightmove, it automatically shows you the property's previous prices. If I'm wrong, can you tell me what the name is? I think it's property log. What else do we have here? E. Cole says, question, hi Charlie, any thoughts on when we could possibly start to see the steepest falls? Well, seeing them means seeing official house prices reported after the event. So by the time you've seen the steepest house price falls, it means they already happened 6 months ago. And if you only start viewing, then you might miss. You might not catch the best deals. You might, I mean, again, I don't expect a bounce. There's always a bit of a bounce, and then if you go back to the last house price falls of 2008, at the end of the very long down streak, there was a bump up and then back down again. And some people get caught out there. But what's going to happen is, because of the time delay, there's going to be a 9-month delay between when the steepest falls are actually happening and when there's actual hard evidence that they happened. And the only hard evidence is land registry completion prices being published. All right. AW07, why did I not get notified of this? Major disappointed. You mean about the live stream? It was a last minute decision to do one. That's why. I wasn't going to do one this evening, and then I felt I wanted to, and I should. I had other things happening, and I wasn't going to do one. So I thought, well, it's better to do one than not do one. So apologies. I do try and give more notice when I can. Make sure you got the bell. If you click the subscribe and the bell, then when I schedule a live stream, you do, I think, get a notification on YouTube or by email or something. So that's the thing to do. Okay, Zook Devals I hope I pronounced that right. Is it okay to start asking 10% off RP? I'm assuming you mean asking price at this point. So this is again a question that gets asked a lot, and it bears repeating the answer to regularly. So I never ever think in terms of percentage off asking price, ever. That is never a rational or logical way to formulate your offer price, for two reasons. Number one, the asking price is irrelevant because some agents put stupidly high asking prices on a property, whereas another agent would put a sensible price on the property. That might be as much as 20% difference. Okay, so I keep saying this, and I don't think it goes in, but you need to just literally ignore. I know it's hard to imagine doing this, but it's a house for sale. That's all that matters. It's a house for sale that you think you might want to buy. Ignore the asking price, because all that matters is, if you viewed it and you decide you want to put an offer in, is working out what that property is worth to you, because you should never offer more than that or less than that if it's a home you want to secure. And that number has no bearing or relation to the asking price. Does that make sense? So go and view a property that's come on because you like it, you think you might want to live there. Ignore the asking price. Just ignore it. This is what I mean by disregard the guff. Asking prices are guff, mostly. Not always, but mostly. View it, sleep on it, formulate the maximum comfortable price you're prepared to pay for that property. Put your offer in. If it's accepted, great. If it's not, walk away. That rinse and repeat. That's all you do. And like Matthew, eventually someone will accept your offer. He offered 20% below asking price. That property was probably on at a ridiculous asking price. Had it been the same old house with a different agent, they might have priced it lower. He might have offered 10%. So it's not about ever a percentage below asking price. I hope that's helpful. Oh, there's so many good questions. So many good questions. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I promised Anne-Marie, my other half, this wouldn't be more than half an hour. And I always promise that. And I always break it. It's coming up to an hour now. So many fantastic questions. Let me just repeat it. Oh, Clayton James, you're very, very welcome. Clayton says, thanks for your advice, your love, and sharing knowledge for all of us. You are so welcome. It's just wonderful. I get stories. I got private messages today about people who've got places, and they said it was that my videos helped them keep going when they wanted to give up, and now they've got a home. I'm so happy every time I get a story that I've helped anyone into or out of a home they were trying to get into or out of. May I please just remind everybody that if your question wasn't answered tonight, so let me also remind for the benefit of new followers, I'm not a mortgage broker. I don't answer mortgage questions, but I do have my mortgage partners on the channel regularly to do mortgage Q&A, and they are licensed, qualified financial advisors who can answer your mortgage questions. Okay, so watch out for the mortgage live Q&As. We'll do one again soon. We'll do one again really soon. I am not a property specialist. I am not a property expert. Okay, so I can never answer specific questions about a property's situation or problems or land or neighbors or boundaries, or that's not my area. I am a moving specialist. Okay, in terms of I've been working alongside agents as a supplier to estate agents for 25 years, and therefore I know the process and how it works and the games that are played inside out, upside down, back to front, and I can share my insights from behind the scenes about how I can help you with your move. Okay, but so with that in mind, if you've got questions you want to ask me, consider joining the private buyers live Q&A club for tomorrow night's 8 p.m. live stream. Any new joiners who join, I've already sent out the link for tomorrow night's live stream. I'll send it to you. If you've got questions, if you want to send me the questions by message on that platform, you can, and I'll answer them. Join, come along, see what it's like, try it out. Risk £15. The people who are there seem to enjoy coming back each time, and it's helping me, and hopefully it's helping you. So come along and try it out. Other than that, remember, if you don't have a whole of market mortgage broker and you need a mortgage, it's better to talk to a whole of market mortgage broker. I've got guys, you can put your details in this URL here, and I'll put you in touch with them. Conveyancing, the same. If you always choose your own conveyancer. If you can't find one you trust, or you can't be bothered, haven't got time, these guys are fantastic. I had him on earlier today. Otherwise, guys, I'm going to love you and leave you. Thank you all so very, very much. If you think this is helpful to people, please do share it with everybody. Emma Anderson, I'm going to finish up with that. Are we still in the denial stage? Very much feels like it. I think we've just reached the end of the denial stage. I think we're about to get into the anger stage. So guys, oh my God, there's so many questions. Have a fantastic evening. I'll see you soon. For all the private members, I'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. Any new members, I look forward to seeing you there if you want to join. Have a great night, guys. All the best. See you on the next one.